Another tough day at the office for the captain of the Dubai Capitals. A tough day at the office all round for the Dubai Capitals, if we're perfectly honest. But that man there, Tikshana, was an absolute star with the ball again here at Sharjah Cricket Stadium. Match 14 of the DP World ILT20. An easy run chase for the Sharjah Warriors, making it back-to-back victories for them. More points on the board and some work to do in the Dubai Capitals camp, that is for sure. If we take a look at the match summary tonight, like I say, a pretty easy win for the Sharjah Warriors, winning by 9 wickets there. Sikandar Raza, we talked about him before the game started. He tried with the bat. It was a funny old matchup for the Dubai Capitals. Like I said, they do have some work to do, but the Sharjah Warriors can feel pretty pleased after 2 great wins here at Sharjah. On the points table, Sharjah Warriors move into second spot there, and the Dubai Capitals drop down to 4th, so it was almost a switcheroo. Plenty to do in this tournament, but the leaders are starting to make their way to the top, and it's exciting times in the DP World ILT20. Darren Ganga, Niall O'Brien, and a very happy coach, I imagine. Johan Butter is joining us. Johan, how are you feeling? I saw on your social media, actually the Warriors' social media, that you said last night's win was great, but it means more if you could win again tonight. You must be very pleased. Very pleased, Laura. I think, as I said last night, obviously a close one, and, those test you a little bit, but tonight the boys put in a really good performance, and, to go 2-2 is obviously nice for us. Particularly in the field, I noticed that you've been talking a lot about how pleased you are with the fielding unit and the way you're able to defend with the ball last night particularly. But tonight, when you didn't win the toss and you'd said you would have batted first, how did you feel the performance went? Oh, excellent performance. To restrict or bowl a team out for 104 is obviously great for us. And then, sort of no fuss to knock it off was great from Jonna. I think, all of us expect him, to crash boom and try and hit sixes all the time. But I think he realised to take this thing out the game, was for us not to lose early wickets and continue to lose wickets, which we have done a little bit in the last 2 games. And I think tonight that was a focus, not to go back-to-back wickets too often, and, just got it done in the end. 4 wickets for Tikshana tonight. Superb effort. And boy, does he love it. Let's have a look at his wickets. What pleased you about his performance again with the ball tonight? Oh, he's, world-class performer. I think with Billings' wicket there, a little bit of whip, so you could say got a bit lucky and hit it straight to the fielder. But I think from there on, just hitting the stumps, those, flickers at the front, just held a little bit in the wicket. And, 3 RBWs obviously tells you that his length and line was excellent. And it's great to have a guy like that in the team when you've had such a good start. Waddy gave us a great start again. Chris Wokes does his normal stuff. Daniel Sams and Jawadula, and then, T came on and sort of ran through the middle order. He looked good, and the way he used his variations. Were you impressed now?
Yeah, very impressed. He's a wonderful bowler. He's been around obviously 3 or 4 years doing a good job. But as a coach, and you had a bit of mystery about yourself with your doucher as well. How enjoyable is it for you to work with someone who is so skillful like Tikshana? Yes,
obviously he's quite a bit better than I was. For me it was more, sort of subtle variations and hopefully like a little bit of unintentional at times, where you just hit the leather and they just skid a little bit. But, with him it's obviously very intentional. To have such strong fingers to flick the ball out the front. Yeah, I tried that for a couple of years, but it's just so hard to control. And the pace on the ball, we keep saying on the side, it doesn't move a lot, but it just picks up that pace and just deviates to miss, the edge of the bat for those LBWs.
Well, 4 for 20, let's have a look at his variations, because he's unorthodox in his approach. He will bowl that conventional off break, but he has the carom ball, which goes away from the right-hander. Then he imparts the side spin that will take the ball into right-handers. And he bowls the googly as well, so he uses the back of the hand, the palm of the hands to get the ball angling in. Those subtle variations, as you mentioned, is matched with that pace variations. We saw his slowest delivery today, 85 kilometers per hour, and then he can get it as fast as 100 kilometers per hour. As a coach, do you train that in a bowler? How do you go about getting a bowler to apply that to his skill set?
Yeah, I think with Mahesh, it's obviously he's, come in with that stuff. So experienced bowler, but I'm sure it took a lot of training away from you, when he was younger, to flick the ball out like that out the front. I think, his run-up obviously adds a bit of pace. So he almost like runs through the crease. And then with all the little variations, I think that just takes that batsman that little bit longer to commit. And that's why leg spin is, mystery spinners.
Maybe you can show us with the ball.
Yeah, look,
you know.
I'm holding a ball like I know what to do with it, which is very exciting for everyone involved. But actually, you're the pro here. Would you show us a little bit of those variations?
Yeah, well, obviously the carom ball, it's sort of that grip, and then it's just flicking it out the front. But that looks easy. But you try and bowl it, 22 yards, it's not so easy. It can go anywhere. It can slide out the side. It can go full. It can go short. But he's obviously got on the string, and when he's under pressure, he can actually flick it into a Yorker, which is exceptional. And then I think the others are like subtle variations for him. You can see him and Dick have obviously got a good understanding behind the stumps, and you can see when the keeper's not happy with what he's bowling, he quickly gets to him and tells him, listen, you can't do that, or we don't want to go there. Not to go back to last night, but he lobbed one up to Alex Hales and landed in the street, and you could see the keeper shaking his head. So I think that's a great combination for us. Two guys who know each other well, who've played with each other, and Dickie behind the stumps can sort of give him a little reminders when he's not landing it where he wants to, and I think that's great. The keeper bowler is a big partnership.
Well, he's bowled 15% of his overs in the power play phase, and the remaining 85% in the middle phase. Is it easier for you with those variations to bowl in that phase of the innings, or are you just doing that because of the support he had? What today was exceptional in the power play?
Yeah, I think what he helped us out in the power play today with that, we could keep Mahesh for later in the innings, and it obviously worked. When the ball started, getting a little bit older, started gripping a bit, where we sort of felt in previous games, guys sort of just want to get through him, and you almost waste an over. He might not go for a lot of runs, but guys don't get out. You've lost 6 of his balls. And tonight, it was obviously worked well for us. They lost a couple of wickets. I think David Warner's wicket just before that first time out was crucial. And then from there on, Mahesh got to his work and bowled 4 straight, I think it was. So, it was just great to have him through the middle. Ball slightly older, gripping a bit more like that. I'm not sure it's gripping that much with the new ball, but tonight it worked beautifully.
Yeah, he started his spell in the 9th over, picked up 2 wickets in that very first over, and just paved the way for his spell of 4 overs in a row.
We've got another Hawkeye here we want to show you. The Hawkeye team's very busy here, but particularly when we look at these variations, you're a man who loves the game of cricket. So when you're looking at these variations, how much of the art of spin bowling, are you just really into this as a coach, watching a young player doing what he can do here?
Yeah, it is great to have someone like that finally in your team, because in Australia, it's pretty much standard finger spin, and South Africa. But to have the guys from the subcontinent, because they grew up on really good wickets, you've got to have something different. If you just bowl, regulation finger spin, guys probably trying to hit you over the fence all the time. But, all those little subtle variations, that takes years of practice. That's not an accident. That's, and like I said earlier, you've first got to pick what comes out the hand, and that just stops that commitment from the batsman. And I think that's the difference, from knowing which way it's going. I remember Rovman Pal had a dip at one, inside half the deep mid wicket, because I think he saw that was the first off spinner of the night, and that's the only one he showed him. After that, it was, pace on and those little flickers.
General coaching question, Johan. When you're coaching kids back in Australia, and I do a lot of coaching in South Australia, are you saying to these youngsters, listen, work on these variations as opposed to, as you said, a lot of conventional spin with the advantages of T20 cricket going around the world? Are you telling young lads, listen, be brave, try new things?
Definitely. I think, in T20 cricket, on all these good wickets, and now with, almost playing an extra batsman in your team, subtle variations is obviously a big part of it. And you just got to practice it and experiment and try different things. Even with Mark Watts, he actually bowls an in-swinger and an out-swinger. That's quite unique. I don't think there's many finger spinners who can swing the ball both ways. So, again, you've got to first look at which way it's curling before you can make a, commitment decision. But that's great to see. Personally, I've never seen a guy finger spin who can swing it both ways. So that's great for our team. As you guys have said, he was exceptional in power play, took it right through, and then we could make the change and get Guppy onto the field. I would definitely recommend young guys to test it. It's like if you speak to Sunil and those guys, they started with a tennis ball. It's a bit softer, you can flick it out, you can push it out, where the cricket ball is really hard. You've got to have strong fingers, but you've got to try these things and play around with it. The wrist spinners and the finger spinners are the ones that are successful.
Maybe that's where I went wrong, didn't use a tennis ball. So if we look at the opposition for you tonight, Sikandar Raza was superb with the ball. What do you like about his variations? I know you don't want to talk too nicely about the opposition, but he has been very impressive with the ball.
Yeah, he's another guy that sort of figured it out, probably started as a regulation off spinner and just worked out probably from being such a good batter that, these subtle variations just take the commitment away from certain shots and the bigger, powerful players. And, I like the way he goes about it. There's arm angles, there's different, variations. He hides the ball behind his back. So again, it just takes that little bit of commitment away from going too soon, too early and just running down the wicket, because you first got to see what comes out of their hand. And that's the key, I reckon.
Sorry, you go, Dan.
No, I think one of the things that Sunil Narayan always says is, he has an advantage when you, as a spinner, could beat the inside edge and the outside edge. It gives you a little more of an attacking outlook as a spinner, and I think that's something that most, as you did mention about Watty, most spinners, they attempt to do. Develop a variation that can take the ball into batters and away from batters as well. And both Sikandar Raza and Mahesh Theekshana, they've shown that. That's why they've been so successful in this format.
So how do batters counter that? That's the trick, I guess.
That's a great question, Laura. I think that the better players, when they do miss, is to try and put them under pressure. They don't miss often, so I think if they do miss in their first 6 balls, you've got to, transfer a bit of pressure. And I think bigger partnerships, guys sort of get used to seeing it out of their hand. As we saw last night with the Vipers, Mahesh wasn't as successful because you had Hales and a couple of others, facing more balls of him, and they've probably seen him around the world in different tournaments. So I think that definitely plays a part. But, to new guys just coming in, it's such a hard, thing to face up straight away.
So also Daniel Sams with the ball 2 nights in a row. He's been pretty good for you. What do you like about him? Because he's a pro in the T20 circuit. He's been around a lot and he brings a lot of experience to your group, and he's brought it again tonight. He does,
and he's obviously a leader within the group. He might not have the tag as a vice captain or a captain or whatever, but he definitely leads from the front. Like you said, he's played all around the world now, and he actually spoke during the first power play tonight. He took the lead and he said, guys, that's not good enough. We haven't had a great start. I know it looked good on the scoreboard, 3-4-37, I think it was, but he took the charge and said, no, that's not our normal standard. Let's keep raising the bar, and that's probably more powerful than coaches speaking, when the players actually take the lead and they listen to each other more than they listen to us.
No, we spoke to him last night and he seemed like a real thinker of the game, particularly about his own. He knows what he brings and he's confident he can bring it.
Yeah, deep thinker, quite a softly spoken bloke actually for an Aussie. He was quite a nice, very respectful bloke. But what is he like in the sheds? You mentioned about leading from the front. What is he like in behind the inner sanctum of the side?
I think he's just a competitor, he just wants to win. I think a nice thing for him is he knows TKC really well. Lewis Gregory, they've got a nice tight little unit. And they just back each other. Those 3 or 4 just, pump each other's tyres all day long. And, I think they enjoy playing with each other. As, Tom just came from the Sydney Thunder, played with Daniel there. I think they've played together in England in different teams. But yeah, it's not a lot said, but I think the guys do listen when he speaks, and that's powerful in the team.
Well, look, congratulations, 2 great wins. Have a well-deserved couple of days off. I know your family's here. You're off to Atlantis tomorrow. Any slide in particular you're looking forward to?
The small ones for me.
Well, go enjoy it. Don't forget your sunscreen. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk all things Dubai Capitals coming up next. But first, let's find out about what David Warner likes about India.
Why are you such a popular man in India?
I think popularity comes with embracing culture, having the respect, the gratitude, and when you get to travel to different parts of the world, India just stands out for me with the whole experience. There's the perfect reason why it's called Incredible India, because it is amazing. The people, they're so welcoming. They've always got a smile on their faces no matter what. The food is outstanding. The hospitality in general is unbelievable. During COVID, it was a sad time for everyone, and doing some dances on Reels and TikTok and stuff, I felt like that was a way to connect people and to put smiles on people's faces. And I think popularity probably grew a lot more through there. But as I say, you have to embrace culture, you have to respect culture, and that's one thing I've always done from a young age. Yeah, Pushpa, it's something that I watched, and a lot of people were calling me Pushpa for some reason. So I learned to do the action, and from there it was just took off, and it was a big hit. But no, when you go and field on the outfield, people start yelling out to you, you know. So you want to give them something, then the DJ plays the music. They're here to watch the game, but they're also here to watch people entertain. And you know, if my small part of entertainment is giving the crowd what they want and have a little dance, then I'll do that.
All right, boys, you heard the man. We're here to entertain. What do you got? Show us your moves.
Come on now.
I don't know what that was, but boy, it was exciting. Look, David Warner, he was here early, straight off the bus, straight out to check out the conditions. He certainly wasn't happy with conditions a couple of nights before, and then he looked at the pitch. They won the toss, batted first. Look, what was he thinking coming into today, Niall? I mean, we've seen him a couple of times here, and he hasn't looked happy both times he's left.
Well, he leaves very dejected, David Warner, and rightly so, because his team are having a difficult time. But before the game, actually, because he warmed up right beside us before the game with his fellow Dubai Capitals teammates, he looked in really good spirits, actually. They were playing football just, 10 or 15 yards across to my right. They looked in really good spirits. David Warner looked really happy. But the back of your mind, it doesn't matter how good you're feeling, you need runs. They're your currency. David Warner, as a captain's doing a decent job, but as a batter, runs are your currency. So he'll be a little bit good.
That's the first
I
error.
love this game.
That's the first error now. Batting right-handed when he is.
Well, maybe you should try batting right-handed.
Left-handed for his team and produce runs.
I used to love this game in the dressing room. Remember you played in the dressing room and you got to try and make the ball bounce twice because you can't be out one hand, one bounce.
When he came out tonight, I mean, look, I feel sorry for the guy because, to be honest, there's so much expectation around him at this tournament. It must be really challenging. You've got this extraordinary career behind you. Everyone's expecting big things. They don't come straight away. If we look at tonight's dismissal, what does it tell you? What does it say about where he's at mentally and with his game in this tournament?
Well, it says that, he is definitely low on confidence because he hasn't really scored in the previous 4 matches for his team. Again, he's still trying to get accustomed to the pitches here in UAE. Relatively different across the 3 venues. David Warner has played over 100 test matches. Listen, he will work himself out. He will come and he will score runs. He just has to find a way of spending time out in the middle. More time out in the middle, more confidence and runs. As you mentioned, the currency for confidence, it's runs. And David Warner will come good.
Yeah, there's a tough thing as a batter because you're only as good as your last performance with the bat. But look, we have a lot of awards in this tournament, a lot of belts to be won. You guys are vying for a golden hat. I think we need to have a new award for potentially the worst review ever. Now, is this it?
This is it.
Yep.
This is it. Jason Holder has absolutely no edge. First ball, it's an absolute seed of doom. It's a beauty. It must have nipped a good foot. And David Warner's going to his keeper, Ramanullah Gurbaz. What do you reckon? Gurbaz said, yes, massive edge. And Sam Billings said, no, Captain, no. It's a howler.
At least somebody's accountable for that poor decision. Ramanullah Gurbaz.
Yeah, we'll blame him. But I love the way Billings just took no responsibility for his own. I actually had no hand in this. It's absolutely not for me. We're going to take a break here at Sharjah Cricket Stadium. When we come back, we're going to take a look at tomorrow's matchup in the DP World ILT20. It's going to be a goodie. My Emirates, Bolt v Hales. We'll break it down for you next. Welcome back to Cricket Safari and welcome back to Sharjah Cricket Stadium, where the Sharjah Warriors have made light work of the Dubai Capitals, winning back-to-back games now. They won tonight by 9 wickets. The Dubai Capitals, they have got some work to do. Darren Ganga alongside me. I mean, 100% strike rate for him in terms of who he's picking in this tournament. Niall O'Brien, you're woeful, but maybe tomorrow will be your day. And there's a big old matchup tomorrow. It is My Emirates taking on the Desert Vipers, and that is 8 o'clock Indian Standard Time, and that is from Dubai Stadium. And I tell you what, Niall, you're really under the pump here because it's not been a good start to the season, mate.
Come on, Niall.
We were friends. We
still are, mate.
No.
All the time.
You're gone.
You're having a shocker, though.
You're dead to me. You're dead to me.
Absolute shocker.
I've had a bad couple of nights. I've had a really bad couple of nights. But, I'll be back, as Arnie said.
You'll be back. Righto, mate. Good luck to you and good luck.
I'll give him some tutorials.
Yeah, you can let him stand by you and your goal. You're a team.
Don't worry, we're a team.
I'll take a little of that. Thanks very much. Right, so tomorrow's big matchup, the matchup that I'm most looking forward to after we watch Alex Hales here in Sharjah find a bit of form with the bat. It's Alex Hales Trent Boult, and that is one that I think is going to be huge. Alex Hales, he's good to watch, isn't he?
61 in his last innings. Hasn't crossed 100 runs so far in the tournament, so maybe now getting into gear. He is a match winner at the top of the innings. He's somebody that can blunt a Trent Boult. Trent Boult, he's been so good alongside Akeal Hussain in the power play phase of the innings. If an opposition team could counter that, gives them a better chance of beating this My Emirates team in this tournament.
Alex Hales, is he one of those players that when you take on another superstar in the likes of Trent Boult, that he steps up a little bit to the plate, do you think, with the bat?
Yeah, I think so. I think all kind of key batters like to take down their opposition bowler. He did say, Alex Hales, that he felt in good touch coming into the tournament. He just kept finding ways of getting out. And sometimes as a batter, and Darren, you get out early, you lose your wicket early. Sometimes actually you're not actually in bad form. You're feeling quite good. I wasn't surprised yesterday we saw Alex Hales come out and play beautifully. And it was back to his old self, really. Look where he's hitting the ball. Down the ground, just very conventional shots. Not trying to get too funky. He got a little bit of luck there, could easily be caught, but just a free-flowing swing of the bat. And tomorrow, when he's up against the My Emirates attack, with both bowlers up front, probably Akeal and Trent Boult, bringing the ball back in, just keep an eye on that front pad. Keep an eye on that pad where Alex Hales, make sure he doesn't close himself off, because Boult will try and cramp him for room.
Now, Boult, we've talked about how his first season here, look, he was great, he was economic, not as many wickets in the wicket column as he would have liked, but this season, not the case. He is taking wickets left, right and centre. And
he bowls to his strengths. You know, some players make the adjustment based on what opposition batters are doing. He's got so much confidence in his own ability, that ability to swing the new ball, to attack the stumps, to hit the hard lengths on the surface, hit the top of off. And like I said, he's very good off his own bowling. So his return efforts, catching batters out, absolutely superb to watch.
He is unreal in the field. One of the best catches of the tournament so far. So just quickly, I'd like who are you picking? Go on, Niall.
You go first.
We need to predict.
You go first.
Just an idea. Just an idea.
I think My Emirates looking good, but I'll confirm tomorrow.
Okay, confirm tomorrow.
I'm going to go for the Vipers.
Oh, dear. Oh, I'm not sure that's the way to do it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for your thoughts, your legends. I appreciate working with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for Match 15 in the DP World ILT20. We'll see you then.